Easy now. Papa got things making headlines.
Come down. Ooh, you make my high come down. Always tripping when you come around. I'ma have to cut you off, like right now. You see, I don't want to drive me. You can say that for your mama. Maybe you should smoke some. Me try the marijuana. I was never you good. The vibe was straight. Showed you a couple of things and they ain't finna change. I treated you right. Everything was a gift from a time to your bag and the color on your lip. Yeah, you plenty of
Welcome to the Seahawks Man to Man podcast, powered by The Athletic. Shout out to the company. My name is Michael-Shawn and I'm here with my co-host, Christopher Kidd. Make sure you follow us both up on the tweet machine. You guys know where to follow me at Mike Dugar, Mikedugar. Chris, talk to him.
What is up, everybody? It's your boy, Christopher Kidd. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at CKIDD206, and that is CKid206.
All right. Also, shout out to the YouTube as well. Seahawks Man to Man. That's the number 2 man on YouTube. Shout out to everyone who's been subscribing there. We really appreciate that. All that love. Shout out to our last couple guests on the YouTube, Matt Barrows, covers the 49ers, and the homie Ben Baller as well. I am speaking to you from a hotel in San Jose, California, because I just watched the Seahawks put up 0 points on offense in a 27-7 loss to the 49ers. I did not think they would get boat raced like they did. Shout out to Greg Bell, the Tacoma News Tribune. No, he did. Sometimes what I'll do in the press box, a little behind the scenes, I'll just go down the row and just, who you got today? Who you got today? Who you got today? Everybody, I think everyone had the Niners, but everyone had it close. Like I asked Greg, he was sitting next to me today. I was like, what you think, Greg? He was like, oh, 49ers beat down. I said, really? That was crazy. This was like right at kickoff too. It just, boy, Greg was on to something today. Also, I'm gonna throw this in here too, since we're talking about it. It's not gonna be a whole Greg Bell podcast, but shout out to Greg. So Deebo Samuel had like a 51-yard run in the first or second quarter. Before that snap, I kid you not, Greg was like, Deebo Samuel was about to run it for 62 yards. I was like, what the hell? Turned to him. Deebo breaks that shit. Me and Larry Stone at Seattle Times is looking like, yo, Greg, what world are you? How did you do that? Like, think about that. Just be like, yep, this is a 62-yard run coming, and it ends up being 51. That was pretty crazy. But it's funny, Chris. I was just talking to somebody on the Seahawks coaching staff the other day, and they were asking me what I thought about the Monday game. And I was like, oh, I was pretty surprised. I thought you guys were going to lose. You know, me and the coach, this particular coach, were going over why I thought they were going to lose. And he at some point said, oh, you thought we were going to get like blown out. You didn't think we could hang with Denver. And I was like, no. I think the style of play that Pete wants you guys to have won't really lend itself to a lot of blowouts. I think for the most part, you guys will be in every game. And I was kind of going through some of the games where they did get blown out. The Ravens game in 2019 got kind of ugly. The Packers game where Russ threw a bunch of picks. Like, there's usually some funky stuff. One of those Saints games in 2019 wasn't particularly close. But usually you get a lot of turnovers, some wacky stuff, special teams, touchdowns can do that. I was like, with Geno there, the way the defense is, we really shouldn't get blown out with this style of play. Boy, that was wrong, Chris. That was wrong with me. Because it was 27-7, and it don't even feel like it was that close. Like,
it wasn't.
It was a blocked field goal. How do I want to say it? It's a field goal return for a touchdown away from getting skunked. And that is 30-0 skunk too. That could have been ugly fast. And man, this is it. It's not time to panic quite yet, but boy, this was pretty embarrassing, disappointing, deflating, all the words you could probably think of.
Yeah, we talked about it off wax. It's very hard to not score. Everything has to go wrong. We looked at the first game against the Broncos, and you can nitpick and say, bro, they fumbled twice, 2 times at the 1-yard line, and the Seahawks really didn't do anything special after that. It wasn't as if they went 99 yards and scored a touchdown and stamped it like we're here. They didn't do that. And then you look at Sunday's game against the Niners, they didn't do anything impressive. Nothing looked good to think, damn, this team is really They have something in mind. Everyone wrote them off. They did need to write back. Well, they didn't write back at all today. There was there was nothing that stood out and made you believe, damn, this team could definitely win some games. They lose their the 49ers lose their starting quarterback early in the game. How do the Seahawks respond? Jimmy G comes in and looks just like Jimmy G as you would expect him to. Keeps the offense on the field. They score points. He just does the little things. Unfortunately, the Seahawks had no counter. Quandre said it in the postgame. We knew what they were going to do, and they couldn't execute on defense and stop it. That is a problem. You know what's coming, and then you still can't stop it. Hey, Mike, I know they're going to run this play on you, and they still complete it on you, Mike. That's a problem. And we saw that time again. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. We saw that time and time again. The halfback toss, bruh, those tackles were destroying linebackers and corners and safeties. It was mayhem on the field. Every time there was a toss, I think it netted 7+ yards each time. And I'm thinking, damn, they're not ready for this. No one was prepared. Everyone says they knew what was happening, but then to go and execute it, you didn't see it.
Yeah, that was so. I think there's a lot of things when you lose by 20. A lot of things have to go wrong. But the reason that we need to start with the offense, which is what's on the screen right now, where is the offense? Dog, it takes a lot of effort to score 0 points, especially with the kickers in today's game. Like, to not score any points means you were either turning the ball over like crazy, or you were just pretty much trash on offense because you couldn't even get within. I think once you get within like the 38-yard line in the NFL, you're likely to score some type of points. The Seahawks, since the first half against Denver, have scored 0 points. By my count, they've had 12 full possessions. So I'm getting rid of the kneel down to end the Denver game. 12 full possessions, 3 against Denver in the second half, 9 I think today it was the number. They've crossed midfield 3 times. Midfield 3 times.
Fam, I'm just looking at the first half possessions. First possession, punt. Second possession, punt.
This is today?
This is today, Sunday against the Niners. Third possession, interception. My man Gino didn't look nobody off. He just tried to throw it right to, I think it was Lockett over the middle.
Yeah, Tyler,
Tuafunga tipped it up into the air, interception. Fourth, another turnover. That's when they try to get tricky. Dallas decides to just throw it in the end zone and the corner sinks right underneath. Interception. Hawks, 5th possession. It doesn't really matter. They go into the half down 20-0. That first half, embarrassing. From play calling to execution, they didn't do anything right. Only thing they did was just put the pads on and show up. That's all they did right. They played the game. They didn't quit. They put on the pads and they walked out there and played. But boy, they did not do anything after that. It was bad from play calling to execution. We talked about it we talked about it, I think, 2 years ago during COVID. We were talking about how can you get DK more involved? Simple thing is move the guy around, bring him in motion, get him moving. Maybe a quick screen, a quick pass to him on the line of scrimmage so he can just
no screens.
No screens. You're done with screens. Just a quick pass to DK at the line of scrimmage, allow him to make a guy miss and see if he can get in the secondary, maybe score a touchdown. How many times did we see that today? None. There was nothing exciting about the play calling. It was very generic. DK, run a little 7-yard curl. DK, running out. I didn't see anything. Only thing that was explosive, and they got brought back, unfortunately, by Abe Lucas being the illegal man downfield, was a little trick play, flea flicker. I mean, it wasn't even a great play call. It was just like, throw it up to DK, and damn, what does DK do? He makes plays. Well, what does that say? Keep giving the ball to DK. Don't stop. Right. If anything, hey, DK, you want to just run that again, and we're not going to do a flea flicker, obviously, but we'll just throw it up to you and we'll give you a chance to go make a play. That's what you have to do. Tyler Lockett, he got his targets, and I swear he always ends up having games where he's going to get 9, 10 targets and have 10, 12 catches. Awesome. But that needs to happen for DK as well. And also interesting to hear that Gino was saying at the end in the post game that, yeah, DK was doubled a lot. I don't care. DK, throw it to him. Give him an opportunity. 6'3", 6'4", can jump out the gym. fast, probably the fastest dude on the field at that time. Give him an opportunity. We didn't see enough of that. And the run game was destroyed. Penny had 6 carries for 15 yards.
That's correct.
That's not going to win you anything. Get creative within the run game. D. Eskridge, not even relevant. They don't know how to use him. Mike has talked about ad nauseum about the Seahawks need a third wide receiver. Didn't see Goodwin out there. He didn't get an opportunity to play really, or he probably got snaps, but no impactful snaps. Again, D. Eskridge, nada. So it's really DK and Tyler. Noah Fant had a couple of catches, but not impactful. What are we doing? What are the Seahawks doing offensively? Where are they trying to have explosives? Is Geno not seeing it? Is the pass protection not holding up? Are guys not where they're supposed to be on routes? What is going on so that to the point where you put up 0 offensively? Because they did get a shout out to Tariq Woolen, not giving up, still fighting to the end of the game. But where's the offense, man? Where's your offense that's supposed to put up points? Their job is solely to score. They get paid to put points on the board, and they don't do it. The defense, which I think I've even said on this show, the defense is going to have a game where they have a touchdown. Oh, well, damn, boy, did they do that? Special teams had a touchdown today, and they still end up getting smoked.
The offense. So here's my thing on the offense today. I can get into some specifics of some plays or whatever, but I think generally speaking, this is the type of game that was possible when you trade Russ. Like, it's just you can have games like this when I guess the Broncos didn't play much better today on offense from what I read. They apparently got booed today. That's what the homie Joe Fan tweeted, and I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, I saw the video. It was hilarious.
Yeah, that's crazy. This is the type of game you can have when you trade a Russell Wilson. Like, this is just possible. I know they scored 0 in Green Bay with Russ last year, but that was different. That was injured Russ, broken finger, whatever. The other thing is, this is the reason I have issue with the Pete Carroll philosophy of kind of go out there and have a quarterback who just needs to just kind of be in the middle of it, and everything around him will elevate him. Like, in theory, that's fine. For example, that's exactly what the Niners did. That's what the Niners are great at. But that roster is loaded, man. Somehow Emmanuel Mosley is like an all-pro corner when he plays DK now. Because, Chris, if you remember, in 2020, DK hit the Niners for 177 yards. He had 140 of those on Emmanuel Mosley. I remember Next Gen Stats had the tweet. I can probably go find it. He was just barbecuing that dude. Since then, he is amazing now.
Yeah.
It's I don't know, technique. He didn't got in the weight room. Maybe he's just like, man, I'm not gonna get embarrassed like that again. Maybe it's just pride. I don't know. Maybe I should ask somebody. I get Matt Barrows back on the podcast, ask him. That's pretty crazy to me. Like that's kind of throwing me off. But in general, this is the issue with the philosophy. You can't just every game assume that, all right, we're gonna run the ball and then we're gonna get them into one-on-one situations with our outside receivers because they're going to have to put an 8th guy in the box, and then we're going to play action, pass it over their heads, and then our defense will get a bunch of stops and we'll win every game. Like, that in theory is a plan, but that's not going to work. You're going to have games. You're more likely than not going to have games like today where something kind of goes around, especially when you're playing a bunch of young guys. That's the other problem with that philosophy. That's cool if nothing goes wrong. You got young guys. There's a lot of young guys on the field today. Like, look how many guys who had penalties today were in their first or second year in the league. That's important. I know Michael Jackson's not in his first or second, but Darrell Taylor had a couple penalties. Lucas had 2. I think Kobe Bryant had 2. That's 6 right there. I can't remember where the other ones came. I think Austin Blythe had 1, and can't remember what some of the other. Michael Jackson had a couple. But my point is, Pete's kind of philosophy is it doesn't leave room for error. You know what I mean? Like, you need a lot of shit to go right around your quarterback every game to be cool. And I just don't think you can rely on that, particularly with a really young team. Now, the Niners are good as hell. The Niners might mess around and go win the Super Bowl with Jimmy G now. It's really unfortunate to see Trey Lance get carted off with a broken ankle. I feel really bad for Trey. He hasn't played that much football. He's not going to get a chance to now with a broken ankle. But you're going to run into teams who have good front sevens, that have good coverage guys, that have a good O-line or whatever. And you're going to be down 10-0, or you'll be down a couple scores in the third quarter. And you can't just be like, well, once we establish the run, we can do everything else. Sometimes you're going to have to throw that thing, establish the pass sometimes. You're going to have to be able to do that. And when you can't, you get your ass kicked sometimes.
Yeah, they couldn't throw today.
Yeah, because everything starts with the run.
Yeah.
You know, the line of scrimmage, which makes sense. Games are won and lost at the line of scrimmage by and large. But the line of scrimmage for the offense for Seattle is, all right, once we run, set up, pass, throw. Pretty simple. Defense is the same thing. It's just kind of the inverse. Other defense are like, if we stop the run, we get them into some third and obvious passing situations, we unleash our guys, we play some sticky coverage, we'll get stops, win games. This is like generally the plan on both sides of the ball. Again, that sounds fine in theory. It's not stupid. But you got to be realistic with the personnel. Well, how you say it, Chris? KYP sometimes,
Know your personnel. Know who's out there.
Sometimes. So I think that this is the type of game that I was always worried about. I didn't think this would go that way, but I think when your whole thing is, all right, man, all Gino just got to do is not mess it up. And we'll go out there and handle the rest. Like, nah, man, sometimes you're going to need your guy to be like, hey, bro, go win us a game. Actually, I was actually just talking to Marcus Thompson at The Athletic. Shout out to Marcus. Before the game, I was saying, like, even the Niners, when they went to the Super Bowl, basically doing Seattle's formula, they had some, even the 2018 Rams as well, but I'm going to use the Niners as an example. There were games that Jimmy G had to go win for them against good teams. Like, in particular, I remember Jimmy had to go win them that game against the Saints in New Orleans the year they went to the Super Bowl. Like Jimmy's had to throw his way into some wins that, you need a quarterback who could do that. And it can't just be go throw on some team with some, a terrible passing defense or whatever. No, sometimes you're going to have to buck up and throw on the other good teams in the league. Doesn't matter if they're double covering your best guy. It doesn't matter if they're clouding the coverage to Tyler's side or DK's side or whatever. You just need to be able to function without having to rely on the run game. Like, I get wanting to rely on it, but it's the NFL. Like, they basically have no plan B if that doesn't
the run
work.
game sucks. Yeah.
In my story today, I'm kind of stealing this analogy from Mike Sando. Shout out to my homie. I'm shouting out everybody on this podcast today, man. I hope these motherfuckers be shouting me out when they on microphones too. I'm shouting out a ton of people right now, but I steal this analogy from my colleague Mike Sando. Where he's at on the run game as a concept, because we're kind of in this like war against the run game right now with analytics and running backs don't matter. His kind of thing is he's a boxing guy, right? So he's like, think of the run game like the jab. You not gonna knock nobody out with the jab, really, for the most part. But what it does is it allows you to set up your opponent so eventually you can knock bro out with the hook, whatever. I don't know all the punches in boxing, but you get where I'm going with this, Chris. Without the run game, these guys are basically fighting with one hand, just trying to throw a bunch of haymakers with no setups. And it's just like, you can't operate like that. But as sometimes you are going to have to just, hey, man, we ain't got time for no jabs. We need to knock this fool out right now. And they're just not built to do that, just because I think it's a philosophy thing more than anything else. And who did I talk to after the game? I think it was Will Disley. Will was like, look, it sucked. We got to remind ourselves, this ain't college. We're not dead in the water after one loss. And Will is correct. But boy, if they have Chris some more quarters where they don't score no points, they will be dead. They will be dead and go. I'm talking about real dead. Not like Tupac may be hiding in Cuba dead. I'm talking about real deal in the ground, dirt dead. You cannot go out there and score no points, Chris. That is bad. They ain't scored the first half against Denver. That's a long time to not score points, bro. That's crazy.
I like what you talked about with the not having the run game. You have to be able to throw the ball to your receivers. Take the pressure off the run game by having guys that can get open. And a team that I'm not saying this Seahawks team is a direct copy of this team, but I look at the Minnesota Vikings, right? Because they have Dalvin Cook, who is one of the best running backs in the league, arguably, but they also have two really good wideouts. If for whatever reason that running game is stifled, you know what they can do?
They can Kirk Cousins, Jefferson,
and Adam Thielen. People sleep on Adam Thielen. They can throw the ball to those two guys, and they're going to make plays. And then they have Osborne, I think they still have Osborne. They have other players that can make plays and get the run game to get, maybe respectable at least. Like, you're not going to just blitz us every time, because guess what we can do? We can throw the football. The Seahawks have to find that rhythm where, okay, damn, we cannot complete the run game the way we want to. We are not being as physical as we need to, but we do have Tyler Lockett. The Seahawks do have Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. Make it work. They have to find other ways to attack defenses when the defense knows. We know you want to give the ball to Rashad Penny 10 plus times, 12 plus times a game. We know you want to get Kenneth Walker in there. We know you want to get DJ Dallas, Travis Homer. We get that. But once that gets shut out, DK, Tyler, they have to have their opportunity to make plays. And I didn't see that enough. Damn sure didn't see it enough, because how many points they put up today? 0. The offense was stale. Again, Ty Lockett, for the most part, he did his thing, but it wasn't impactful enough. It didn't lead to points. And that's where the problem is. And again, I use the Vikings as an example because I look at how they run their offense. It's through Dalvin Cook. Like, they want to get him involved early. They want to run the football. That's just how that team is set up. Okay, cool. But if stuff is not working the way they want to, guess what they can do? They can attack outside. And I think a lot of people would say, DK is right there with Justin Jefferson. The ceiling is just as high. Unfortunately,
for sure.
The ceiling is not, I would say they're just not using him the same way, but they can. That is a team that they should really mold it like, damn. And I get it. They don't have Kirk Cousins at quarterback. They have Geno Smith. And maybe that's a limitation. Maybe they realize, damn, we can't throw it the way we want to because we have Geno, which is not a diss to Geno. It's just some throws you just can't make, right? So that's going to be interesting to see how they develop throughout the season. And can they rebound when, damn, we cannot find rhythm in the run game? But can they Can they figure it out and get the passing game going? Because that's going to be key. You're down 10-0 and the run game's not working. You're going to have to throw the ball, because guess what the defense is going to do? They're going to keep blitzing. They're going to keep having guys in the box. The safety is going to be dropping down. They're going to test you to throw the ball. And guess who you have outside? You have 2 really good wide receivers. Hopefully they can make it work.
Yeah, the blueprint that they're kind of using is I use another team other than the 2019 Niners, although that is part of the blueprint. It's the 2018 Rams. They had Jared Goff, they had Cooper Kupp, they had Robert Woods, and I'm missing a receiver that they had. I think Brandon Cooks. I think Cooks was on that team. And then they had Ty Gurley. Yeah, and they ran it a lot. Jared Goff just had to make one read, throw, boom. Guys were cooking. Today was really troubling, and why we're spending so much time on the offense, I think, is because, like I said, their game plan is a philosophy, not just always this specific game, but the philosophy generally is, if teams want to come out and stop the explosives with cloud coverage meaning, how should we explain cloud coverage? Chris, put it this way. So let's say you got DK on the outside, right? And you got like a corner kind of sitting underneath him, and you got
to the flat. Yeah.
Yeah, like the corner stays there underneath DK, and then the safety comes and helps, clouding that side. So DK is essentially doubled, which maybe they are doing some of that, which is what Geno mentioned after the game. But let's say that teams come out like that. They're like, all right, we're going to have 2 safeties up top, and you guys are going to have to run on us. And the Seahawks are like, well, cool. We'll run it then. Once you bring that second safety in, now you're one-on-one outside. You can't really cloud it like that. So now, boom, Tyler, DK, Marquise Goodwin, is everybody about to eat, right? Today was so troubling, I think, because just watching the game and rewatching some of before me and Chris started recording, it looked like the Niners respected the run game so much that they already came out with the safety in the box. They didn't even have to they didn't have to establish the run to get the coverage they wanted, essentially. The Niners were like, we'll play cover 3. We'll put Emmanuel Mosley over one side. What's my man named? Ward? What's his first name? Travarius?
I think that's correct. I can double check for you.
Yeah, let's go with that. They got Ward on one side, Mosley, safety up top, and they got your man, the Polynesian brother, in the box. That they came out like that. That was how they came out. So it's like, all right, you can already throw. That's probably why their first play of the game was a pass. But they already had what they wanted and couldn't take advantage. It wasn't like they needed to run the Niners out of too high coverage. That's why this game in particular, I'm really like, okay, this is a problem. You got what you wanted and couldn't scheme up ways to do it. It's like, this is your thing. Defense, I'm not as worried about, because it really is a matter of like, tackle the guy with the ball. Like that part is like you can fix that. Like just tackle the guy with the ball. It wasn't like there's a ton of gaping holes guys are running to. A lot of guys just missed one-on-one tackles, like the 50-yard run I mentioned with Debo. Daryl Taylor has him dead to rights. That's not a run fit issue to me. Daryl had him right there, missed him. 50. It became 50 yards because it got weird after that. You know, he cut around Trent Williams, but you can kind of get my point. Defense, I'm not as really worried about, but like look at some of these before we switch to defense, bro. Some of these offensive numbers are pretty bad, bro. The Seahawks are already at like 26th in hold on, let me see where they at in points per drive. Seahawks are 31st in points per drive, bro. They have one of the worst offenses in the league. Now it's through 2 weeks, but you get my point. Like offensive EPA per play, 28th, man. Like they are already like really bad on offense despite being 1-1. I want to read some rushing stats. We got time for that, Chris? Can I read some of these?
Oh
Really
yeah,
quick?
absolutely.
I want to read some rushing stats here. These are, I think that I'm gonna steal these from. Damn, I'm shouting out everybody. All right, I'm gonna read these from the homie. There's a thing I use. If people read my stories, you see that I cite a site called True Media all the time. So in True Media, the homie Aaron Reese has like a little setup here where I can get to some numbers really easily. So what Aaron has in here, Chris, is a stat called uh, it tracks the percentage of runs that you have that are for 0 or negative yards. So basically means you either got stuffed or there was a TFL, which is a win for the defense, right? So the Seahawks lead the league in percentage of runs for 0 or negative yards. 36.4%. That means that they are more than a third of the time when they run the ball, they either go backwards or get nothing. That is disgusting.
That's a problem.
That is a huge problem. Like that's huge. Now, some of that is probably correctable. It's probably just some run checks they need to be fixed. Like I watched the play today. It looks like I think Abe Lucas like ran the wrong way. Like you know that happens. I remember that happened in Damian Lewis's rookie year too in the Cardinals game. He just ran the wrong way, and the run got blown up. Like stuff like that is really bad. Their success rate is really bad on the runs. It's like 32%. That's pretty awful. Like they just can't run the ball at all. You know, it was weird. I asked today, I asked everybody in the locker room, I said, well, what's wrong with the offense? And then I followed up with Rashad Penny on that question. I said, what's wrong with the run game in particular? He said, I don't think nothing wrong with the run game. You know, I think we're being efficient. You know, we just gotta be better. I'm looking at these numbers. Ain't nothing efficient about. Like
Yeah.
these numbers are bad. Success rate's bad. Let me see. Is their yards per carry at least decent? Nope.
Probably not after today. Nah.
They're 30th in yards per carry.
Yeah.
Like, which
And
is
this
not a
sounds-
stat that I love, but everything about what they're doing is bad.
Does that stat include today's game or Sunday's game against the Niners?
Yeah. That
Yep.
it's a little thrown off just because I think this also includes the teams that play Monday. So like the Titans are in here, but all the teams that played, yeah, they're 30th. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Dang,
Probably gonna be 31st after the Titans play.
No, the only teams that are above are the Chargers and the Rams. Damn, the Rams are that bad at running the ball, huh? That's pretty great. Yeah, drop Cam Akers. Yeah, like that's really the run stuff is bad, but it comes second to me for like the throwing stuff as well, though. Like if you're trying to run teams out of too high, and a team starts the game in cover 3 against you, and you still can't move the rock,
That's the problem.
what are we doing here? You know, it's like, what are we doing? And I feel like, Chris, all year we're going to be talking about how come they're not getting the ball to DK. What does DK have for the year? What's DK's year numbers?
I don't think you want to look, man.
I do. DK has 13 targets through 2 games, which is 6.5 a game, which I would like that to be much higher. If I'm giving
That'd
you
be in the double digits at minimum.
Yeah, if I'm getting you 24 million a year, I would like 10 targets a game. He's got 11 catches for 71 yards. That's it. That's a problem. Like I feel like this is gonna be a recurring thing where we're gonna be like, why is it so hard to get this guy the ball? Like that's just
They're not making it an emphasis. They're not trying to. They're trying to do other things, which is we want to be physical and run the football, and we'll get to the passing game. But in theory, the running game isn't there. That's why I use the Vikings as an example, because I feel the Seahawks mirror with what receiving wise, Just not the running back situation because Dalvin's different. He's a beast. I get that. But receiving wise, bro, you got DK and Tyler. I don't know. We saw it against Denver. Every time Denver went man, what happened? Tyler Lockett getting busy, first down. I saw it multiple times. I know the Niners don't play a lot of man. They play a lot of cover 3, but I saw Tyler Lockett today get busy and get open. Okay, do the same with DK. Keep going to him. Keep going to him. Make them have to adjust and make changes, and then you can get back to the run game. But when you don't even score, the Niners are going to stay in their cover 3 and have the safety playing in the box all day.
Yeah, and we will get to the defense right quick. I don't want to spend a ton of time on a trick play. I'll just say this. I'm not a fan of trick plays that require guys to do things that they don't normally do. Just as an idea. That means like a fake punt is fine, but I would like it to be a run. Like if you snap it to like DJ Dallas on a fake punt. Remember the fake punt they had with Travis Homer they've done
Perfect.
Perfect example because it's a trick play, but it's essentially Travis running the ball.
Which he does.
That's fine. I get that. Today they ran essentially a flea flicker. It ended with Geno Smith throwing the ball. That's fine. That's what Geno does. I don't like when kickers try to throw, when punters trying to throw. Anybody trying to throw the ball who doesn't throw or run the ball if they're not a runner. Like that, I just think those trick plays, and they shouldn't be worth your time unless you have Odell Beckham because he might be the 33rd best quarterback in the league because, boy, his passer rating is insane. Like Odell always throws a touchdown, I swear. Unless you have him or Mohamed Sanu, I really don't want anybody else throwing.
By the way, Mohamed Sanu's a free agent.
All right. So is OBJ. There you go. I think, that's just kind of where I'm at trick plays. So the trick play was a bad idea from that. Like the execution of it was obviously bad. But even if the pass was on target or whatever, like DJ said, he was trying to bring it back in so he could run it, and it slipped.
Wow. Watching that replay, it did not look like it, but okay.
It wasn't like he said he was trying to pull it back, and he had already gone too far forward to pull it back in. So it was kind of like if you're playing basketball and you get in that weird spot where you don't know if you want to do a floater or bank it. You know what I mean? Like it's where you got to put a certain amount of touch on. He got caught in between. That's what DJ at least told me after the game. But either way, execution is not really my concern. You're asking a lot of guys who don't do that. You're asking DJ to throw the ball on the run in the rain with a glove on. No, that's not fair to DJ. Of course the pass was bad. He don't throw. You know what I'm saying? Like, stop. Don't ask guys to do stuff they don't do. So that's why you want anything on the trick play before we go to defense side?
You want to talk about get rid of it? I don't want to ever hear about it. That play should never be brought up again unless you get Mohamed Sanu or OBJ. That's it.
Yeah, the Wildcat should be dead. There's no reason to run the Wildcat and not include DK or Tyler in the backfield. That's the other thing about that. They stuck like 4 running backs back there. What do we do?
Or at least D.
I think we got a question that's going to lead us.
We have multiple questions about D, but whatever.
Yeah. So real quick on the defense, I do think it is troubling that they planned all week for the Niners run game, no matter who was the quarterback, because they, believe it or not, they did plan to. If they planned thinking Jimmy G could come in at some point.
Yeah, Quandre alluded to that.
Yeah, and I know that to be true as a fact. So they planned for that. They planned for the run game, and they had no answers. They just could not tackle. And I think that the one thing they did kind of get schemed on, I think, is I bet maybe Pete talked about it. I missed Pete Carroll's presser, so I have to go back and read the transcript. But the Niners are really good at running like outside zones. Just basically they attack you on the perimeter. That's why a team like Seattle kind of uses a 3-4 now, so that like in theory doesn't happen, and they get corners who can tackle. It didn't look like they went outside much today. It looked like they were like, you know what? We see your Al Woods. That's cool. We see your Poona Ford. We can still run in between the tackles on y'all. Watch this. And we're still able to do it. And that's just guys getting moved out the way. Like, who was the leading tackler today? If it was Quandre, that's a problem. Let me see here. That's kind of like a general rule for me. If Quandre leads the team in tackles, that's bad. Okay, it was Cody. It was Cody and Jordan. So that's good. That's a good sign. Whenever it's not them, you got a real problem. Because I don't think that they had nothing today, man. It looked like the linebackers were non-existent. Guys just could not tackle. Like, it's one thing not to be able to tackle Javonte Williams at Denver. I think he's probably one of the best, uh, most elusive running backs in the league. Like, no lie, it's really hard to tell him. Alvin Kamara, probably Nick Chubb. Like, in terms of just like breaking tackles, those guys are crazy. They couldn't tell who the hell was number 32 for the Niners today. Chris, what's his name? He looked like Barry Sanders today. Something Davis Price. He must be.
Yeah, rookie.
Oh, he is? Okay. Yeah, that's why I don't know who he is. That boy looked like Barry Sanders today, man. He only had 33 yards, so I guess that's not too crazy. But like what did they run for today? 189 yards on the ground, man. That's pretty concerning, man. I was talking to somebody on the team in the locker room. I was like, yeah, the run game, you guys can fix that, right? It's just guys need to be able to tackle. He was like, I hope so. I was like, ugh, that's not good. Yeah, that's not good. I love being back in the locker room, man. Win or lose, man. It's been a fun vibe. But yeah, that was the defensive performance. I think that it felt a little bit more isolated though. Like it doesn't feel like it'll keep being bad. Like the offense, it feels like that could carry over. The defense, I feel like that's going to get fixed, and it kind of did get fixed in the second half. Like the Niners didn't go crazy in the second half, but they have like 100 yards of offense.
Yeah, but I also think they were just playing out to lose.
That's kind of what their scheme is, though. Really, that is how they play. You know.
Yeah. Just a bunch of runs, and they chewed 7 minutes off the clock at the fourth quarter.
Yeah, that's their game. You know, like that's just kind of how they get down. Let me see how many. Let's see. So the Niners ran the ball for 66 yards in the second half. Is it? I think I'm pretty sure if that's right, the number I'm looking at. Let's see. Yeah, maybe it's a little more, but the point is they didn't just in the second half. Clearly, guys were like, let's tackle better. Like I saw one play on the goal line, and this is probably on the film. Quandre made a tackle and just looked at the sideline with both his arms up, like, "What y'all want me to do, man? I'm out here making tackles. Like, I'm trying." He didn't say that to me after the game or nothing, but it looked like that on the field. Like, that was pretty bad. So yeah, I'm a little worried about the defense, but not as much as I am the offense, man. I feel like once you trade Russell Wilson and start Geno Smith, and you go 6 quarters with 6 of your 8 quarters to start the year, you don't score any points. Yeah, man. I need some answers, dog, and nobody gave me any answers today.
Yeah, it's a tough sell offensively. Defensively, definitely some question marks. Can it be fixed? Sure. The tackling situation, someone asked Pete about that, and he literally said, yeah, that was the preseason. That was guys that they're not on the team anymore. Basically, Pete's saying, we're going to get it figured out. We're going to make tackles. Guys just didn't make tackles for whatever reason. A lot of arm tackling, guys just putting their heads down, trying to make big hits, missing. That can be fixed, I think.
Yeah.
I even saw Quandre miss a few tackles uncharacteristically.
Yeah.
Those are things they can fix.
And I think when they're out there for fewer snaps too, they'll be a little better, man, because they were out there for a long time.
So I remember in the third quarter, the time of possession, it was 27 minutes to 14. Yes, the Seahawks defense was out there all day, just running, hitting. They were probably like, dog, can y'all just score so we can get off the field? That's probably what they're at. At certain points, they're just like, y'all just go score. We are tired. You guys are running at us the whole game, not really passing. At least it felt like that. I'm sure the stats might be different when you go look at it, but from watching it live and everything, it really seemed they just were like, yeah, we're just going to punch you in the mouth the whole game and run the football. Every time. Halfback toss here. A dive there. Halfback stretch. A lot of zone blocking. Just guards pulling. I'm just like, damn, this is physical. And the Seahawks didn't look prepared. There wasn't execution that they normally would have in the run defense. But to Mike's point, in the second half, they tightened up a little bit. But then again, the Niners were just playing keep away. They were saying, yeah, we're not going to give you guys the ball. We're just going to run it, chew that clock up, Gino's not going to do anything offensively, and unfortunately, that didn't happen. Again, the only points the Seahawks saw was on special teams, Tariq Woolen making a big play. So I don't really have anything else to add defensively. Hopefully, they can figure things out as they start to prepare for the Atlanta Falcons, who are 0-2. So that should be a game where they tighten things up on the run in the pass. But they do have a challenge going up against Drake London, a nice receiver. He's been playing pretty well. So we'll see how that goes. But I do know we got a couple of Twitter questions. You ready for that, Mike?
Yeah, I'm ready. We can do the questions now.
We got quite a few. Some actually just came in. So we'll start off with, why can't the Seahawks commit to the run? I thought Russ being gone, it would mean more balance. We're passing just as much as we used to, just not downfield with Russ, per se. Who can the Seahawks blame? Pete, Shane, offensive line, running backs. I can't blame Russ. He's no longer in Seattle. And that's from the homie Sam.
Yeah, I think that I'd have to go look at the neutral pass situations, because you can't just look at the raw numbers, really. It's like, what down and distance are you looking at? What's the score? Like today they were down 2 scores for all but 3 of their drives or something like that, 3 of their 9 drives. So you can't, and then you got 2-minute situations that skew the numbers too. Like, I don't think they had 2-minute drives essentially. So that's going to be, a lot more passes than runs. So I have to see the numbers on it. But I think generally speaking, they just haven't been good enough in the run game to get more plays. Like if you run it on first down and you throw it on second down and now it's 3rd and 5, well, yeah, you have to throw it again. So that's two pass plays to 1 run. You do that. You have enough crappy drives like that in a row, then boom, your offense kind of stinks. I think they're still committed to the run, but when the game gets away from you, it's hard to stay committed to it. And I think that's fine. You have to do what the game suggests. You down 15, you got to start throwing. That's just kind of how it goes. But yeah, I think they're still committed to it. I don't think that's the issue. I think they're too committed to it as like we got to get this going and build off of that. That's tough, man. That's tough. You need to take what the defense gives you. They came out today trying to stop the run, and you guys just got pounded and could not move the ball through the air in enough ways to score points. That's the issue.
How many scoreless? This one's from Michaela, by the way. Shout out Michaela. She came to the live show, been rocking with us, showing love for quite some time now. So thanks again, Michaela. She wants to know, how many scoreless quarters would it take for Pete to make a change at QB?
I think that's a good question, which is a crazy question. Crazy to think that that's a good question after the first half of Denver. It's like that we're right here at this point asking what it would take to play Drew Lock. I think what matters more than how many scoreless quarters is why they're scoreless. Like Gino today, turned the ball over just once.
Yeah,
like, that's not even that crazy of a game. That's pretty normal,
yeah,
it's not that bad. Like for example, if he turns it over once every 2 games, then he'll have like at least throwing an interception. He'll have like 9 picks, something like that, 8 or 9 picks. That's a fine season. If that number goes up though, if
like
he's
Matt Ryan,
how many times?
Matt Ryan threw 3 picks today and they got skunked.
Well, yeah. Well, the Colts are frauds, man. Shout out to Chris Ballard, the GM of the Colts, and Frank Reich, the head coach of the Colts. They have the world confused. They play the media game pretty well, man. They are fraudulent. They are freaking frauds over there. The Colts are never as good as people tell us they're going to be in the off seasons. Anyway, yeah, it's terrible. But what was the question? Oh, how many quarters before Drew comes in? I think it would have to take some turnovers. I think more than just not scoring. That's the turnovers by Gino in particular. Because like if Gino throws like Gino in the part of the reason they didn't score in the second half in Denver is because
DK fumbled.
DK fumbles. That had nothing to do with Gino. Gino throws him, got a ball, whatever. So I think it has to be Gino turning the ball over. I think that leads to the not scoring. That's part of it. But that said, to Michaela's question, you go 4 more next week, Gino's out of there. You can't go 10 quarters in a row without scoring on offense. Nah, you have to
shake it up.
You have to see what you got in Drew at that point, because at that point it quite literally cannot get worse. You're not scoring, so you can't score negative, so it can't get worse. You got to put. So yeah, it's 2 ways to answer that. I think you get shut out against Atlanta at home. Fans probably gonna be booing you. you got to put Drew in against the Lions or whoever's after that. But also, it would just take Geno, I think, turning it over a lot.
This one's from the homegirl Holly. Shout out Holly. Appreciate all the love. Some people are saying it was adrenaline from beating Denver that caused the loss, but that ain't it. What do you think the ultimate problem was, and how do you think the Seahawks can turn things around and be more efficient offensively?
Yeah, I don't think the idea that they were like too emotionally hungover or whatever from the Denver game to get right for the Niners had much to do with it. I just think that the Niners were better. I think that was an issue. I think the game plan wasn't good. I think I get the sense that guys were really frustrated with how just like individual things were going, like DK not getting the ball, guys not tackling, not doing their jobs. Like it's hard to just keep grinding away when just you got blown coverages. Like how many times today did they have a stop and then there was a penalty? Or how many times today did they have a big play on offense or it was a penalty? That stuff is emotionally frustrating and hard to overcome. Like the good teams do it, but it's like that's tough. They had a 50-yard play, I think, wiped out because of an ineligible man downfield. You know, like they had a couple third down stops today, and then there's a flag on Kobe or a flag on Mike Jackson or whatever. That stuff is hard. I think that those emotions were what was bothering them more than just whatever happened against Denver. I think they got over the Denver thing probably like by Wednesday morning. Like, hey, moved on. Their social media would lead you to believe otherwise. Boy, they trolled Russ all week. They would post everything all week. But I don't think the players were really on that. They were like, all right, we beat Denver. We expected to beat Denver. Let's go beat the Niners. And they just did not. But yeah, I think I talked to a few guys about that element of it too. Like it's 3rd and 9, you get the stop, turn, and there's laundry on the field. That's hard. That's tough. You know, it's like, all right, now we staying on the field. You know, that's tough. I think that was the bigger issue.
This one's from Jeremy Hensel. Speaking of DK, why does it seem so hard to get DK involved in the offense? That is.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, they could involve him in the defense if they want. I guess. I think he'd be a really good tackler. I think that the issue is, and this is the theory. No coach has really told me this or player or anything. I just think that they get too afraid of the matchups. Not afraid, because they always think, like you can hear DK ain't scared of nothing, to be very clear. Like I asked DK when he starts watching film on the DBs he's gonna play, he said, I don't do that. They gotta guard me. Like they need to go watch film on me. That's basically how he answered. He's answered it twice like that now.
I will say they must be watching a lot of film because my man ain't he's not having a great start. You should ask him you should be like, DK, you say you don't watch film on guys. Do you think maybe you should? Or is it just maybe the quarterback? What are your thoughts there, DK?
Yeah, I don't think it's a him thing. I think he's getting open.
Yeah, is he being seen?
Yeah, I think that it's too much of, all right, they rolled the coverage over there, so now I can't get it over there. Or this DB's playing this leverage or whatever he makes, sometimes you gotta say fuck it and just force feed the guy the ball. And normally I wouldn't be, I would say let the offense just flow. But it's like your offense isn't built to just everybody get a piece, like the Chiefs offense. I don't think the Chiefs should force feed the ball to anybody on their offense. Whoever Mahomes thinks is open, he should just throw it to them. Like that includes Kelsey. Like if McCole Hardman one day has 15 targets, and the next game Juju has 15 or whatever, I think that's fine for their offense. This offense is not like that. This is not how do I want to say this? It's not like diverse in that way.
It's not Pee Wee football. Everybody's not gonna get the pie.
Yeah, it's not like I just can't think of the word that I want right now. But for the most part, this is a force feed thing. You get 10 targets for DK and 10 targets for Tyler. Everybody else figures it out. Seriously, I think that should be the divide, or how it's divided up pretty much every game. And I think they're doing too much of what's essentially the right football play, though. Like, oh, they did this, so we should go look for Will on this read, or Tyler on this read, or check it down to Kenneth Walker on this read. I get that. You're not scoring points. You've had this issue with not getting DK the ball before. Screw all that. Get DK and Tyler the ball. Everybody else just gonna have to live with it. That's fine. Tyler makes $17 million a year. DK makes $24 million a year now. Everybody else don't. They've lived with it. They've come to terms with that as men and understanding the business. That's cool. make the stat sheet look accordingly. The stat sheet should look like these two dudes are more valuable to the offense than everybody else because they are. They are. The reality is they are. But I think part of the thing with DK, when they get matchups that they like, or that's like the risks go down. I feel like that's the answer to that question. It's like, oh, Emmanuel Mosley's on and playing really good, blah, blah, blah. We got to take calculated risks over there. Or it's Patrick Surtain last week, or Jalen Ramsey, or DK's had some games against Patrick Peterson where he don't get no catches. That's ridiculous to me. DK should have 10 targets. I don't give a fuck who's guarding that man. But they don't have that mindset. They make the right football play or allow him to be schemed so where you got to throw it somewhere else, which, again, that makes football sense until you don't score points. Because the point of having the ball is to score. You know, they're not doing it.
We got two questions here. This is from Chihuahua Loco. First one is offensive. What to make of the O-line? Felt like they were getting punched in, and Geno had to move it quick. Even with 6 blockers, the right reads were there, but couldn't take advantage. And in the second part, defensively, we seem to be taking away the deep ball. Are we getting good cornerback play, or teams just prefer to punch us in the short game?
I'll do the defense one first. They are getting good cornerback play, and they're getting teams that want to do some quick game. I think it's a little bit of both. The corners, I think, are fine. You know, they're going to have their plays here and there. That's just the nature of playing, you know, being corner. You know, you're going to have some plays where you're just, you know, you get beat or whatever, but you shouldn't have any penalties. Michael Jackson had a couple iffy ones today. But I think that the corner play has been decent. They also getting some teams that want to get it out pretty quick. No one wants to just leave their quarterbacks on an island to get killed by pass rushers. I think defensive offense. What was it? The O-line? That was the first part of the question?
Correct. Yep.
I think actually the pass protection, I think, has been all right through 2 games. Like, generally speaking, obviously it's not perfect every game, but for the most part, I think guys are holding their blocks long enough for Geno to get stuff out. Like, there was a couple today, for instance. Like, one of them was like 3rd and 11. I want to say after you remember that play, Geno had like a misread with Kenneth Walker and just had to just fall down.
Yeah, Joey Bosa came in
Yeah, I think the next play was like 3rd and 11 or something like that. And Geno just immediately throws it to Tyler short of the sticks, and it's like they have to punt on like 4th and 2. They had another one that was like 3rd and 12. Geno makes like one read and then just checks it down to Kenneth Walker, who picks up like 4 yards. And in my head, I'm like, if you got time, wait, you know? So I think the O-line, and just from pass protection, has been fine. Obviously, in the run game, it's been bad. But I think the pass protection itself has been okay. Like, even the 2 sacks that Geno had against Denver were on Geno more than they were on Charles Cross. So, yeah, the early impressions of the O-line, I think it's been okay in pass protection. I think Gabe Jackson has some plays he'll want back today, just kind of watching. I don't know if they talked about him in the broadcast, but yes, he has some plays today where that was not it. But just generally speaking, Abe Lucas too. But generally speaking, it's like when it's time to throw, there's time. It's just not making the throws.
This one's from Lane Smith. When do you think we could see Kobe move to outside cornerback? Michael Jackson has played well, but isn't Kobe supposed to be the future? Also, he might seem more comfy.
No, I think Kobe's fine inside. I think Mike Jack. I'm telling you, I think the corners are fine. Like, I do. I think they've had. It's real. It's not like they're getting cooked. I think the one bad play I saw today, Tariq got beat pretty bad. I think Brandon Ayuk just dropped the ball.
Yes.
Yeah, he did. He just dropped it on the sideline. That was pretty bad. And Tariq immediately got up and waved like, incomplete. You know?
Bro, you had no impact on that play. Homie should have caught that.
It's incomplete nonetheless. The ref does the little incomplete sign, whether the DB gets his hand on it or not. So I'm a fan of DBs doing that regardless. But somebody did mention that in the press box. It was like, why is Tariq waving his arms? He didn't do nothing on that. I'm like, hey, it's incomplete. All he is signaling the sign. That's like signaling for a first down if you was the blocker on the play. It's the ref's still going to do the first down sign, whether you had anything to do with it or not. But yeah, I think what was the question on that?
The question was basically asking.
Yeah, the corners are fine. Tariq's fine. Michael Jackson's fine. I think Kobe will be okay. I'm not like entirely sure. He had a couple plays today that were good though. Kobe did. He had one where if Jimmy had to throw it at like the receiver's feet, because if he'd have thrown it where it was supposed to go, Kobe would have picked it off. I think that was like a 3rd down play to Ayuk later in the game. So the corners are fine. I wouldn't move Kobe.
This one is from Golden Rod. Is Tyler Lockett supposed to be the punt return man again? Or did they simply fail to find suitable replacement for Freddie Swain? Wasn't Eskridge supposed to fill that role? Question mark.
Yeah, Eskridge was. And look, man, I don't know why they went away from it, but I really just think that the Eskridge experiment is going really, 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 really poorly. And I don't even think it has anything to do with ability on Eskridge's part, man. I just think they whiffed. They took the wrong guy. They took the wrong guy for what they wanted to do because they're treating Eskridge like he's a scat back or something like that. No, he can run routes and catch the ball, but he's not out there. So how is he going to do that? And I know people want to immediately bring up Creed Humphrey when you talk about Eskridge. Like, oh, they should have took Creed Humphrey, the center who plays for Kansas City, who's been really good. The Seahawks had to need that center. I get it. That's fine. My main thing, honestly, I like taking a receiver with that pick. I've talked about it. A third receiver matters. It just should have been Amon-Ra St. Brown, if anything. Like, for real. He went to USC. He's a slot guy, explosive dude. Like, he fit what they needed at the time. Pete, like, a third of his staff is still from USC. It's no-brainer pick. I don't know why they didn't do that. Not to say that D don't got talent. It's just they're treating him like he's a 7th-round pick or something like that. Like, he's not getting no snaps. He's not running no routes. Like, it's just really, really bad, man. I know this was a question about punt returning, but I wanted to use this as a time to say, like, it's not even a talent thing on D's part. I just think that they took a guy, don't know how to use him, and don't even care to really try to. And that's a shame because they could really use a weapon in the passing game right now.
This one is from 509 Hawk Fan. How bad does this season have to be for Pete to retire or Jody to let him go?
Oh, it's got to be pretty bad. Have some more games like this. Have some games like this at home. I think we talked about that before the season. I mentioned that they would have to get embarrassed for it to be really bad. It's not even about the wins and losses. Like, I don't think they were really going to win that many games this year. I think I said 6-11. But you can't have games like this. If you lose something close, whatever. But if you get embarrassed at home or on national television, those are the ones that really sting. Like, this was just a game at 1 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? Everybody wasn't tapped in. If this was Thursday Night Football, it'd be a lot uglier. Like that matters. Like, the Seahawks were the lead story on ESPN all Tuesday because they played on Monday night. They won't be the lead on Monday. Trey Lance's ankle will lead Monday more than the Seahawks game will. So the situation doesn't matter in that regard. So I don't think it's a number of losses or anything. It's how they look. If they just keep getting shellacked, yeah, they're at it. Everybody's gone by New Year's Eve or whatever.
This one is from Yesh Nadu. Hope I'm saying that right, but his ad name is @Yeshley_Snipes. How will Clint Hurt create pressure with this young front seven without Jamal Adams?
Yeah, I think the issue is not necessarily not having Jamal, that he needs to create pressure. They have to stop the run first. Because when they play teams like this, they play some other teams, it may not matter as much. But, like, you look at the third downs that Atlanta had, or excuse me, that the Niners had, like, when it was an obvious passing situation, they were getting pressure. Like, there's some 3rd and longs. Uchenna had some pressures. Like, when it was 3rd and long today, the Niners were just 1 of 5. 3rd and medium, they were 2 of 4. And then, let's see, on short yardage, for 3rd downs, they were 3 of 6. So the 3rd and longs, they were getting off the field there. And I'm talking about 3rd down because when you're talking about pass rush, you want to be in a situation where they're obviously going to throw. It's very hard to consistently rush the passer when you don't know where your linemen don't know whether they're playing a block or they're playing a gap in the run game or whatever, or they can just rush the passer. Like, I think that's the issue. They need more reps at it so guys can get to the quarterback. But if it's 3rd and 3 all the time or 3rd and 4 or whatever, that's just hard to deal with. So I think that fixing the pressure comes to 1st and 2nd down for me. I think the other problem is that they're going to run into, even on those obvious passing situations, they're still not a super good screen defending team. So even if it is 3rd and 11 or whatever, now your edge rusher has to be conscious of the screen. So can he afford to fly upfield or focus on beating his man? when he has to think, oh, maybe they're running a tight end screen or running back screen or receiver screen right here. So they have a bunch of issues there, but it's not like they don't have pass rush talent. I don't even think that was the issue last year or the year before. It's getting into those situations where they're obviously going to throw and not throw a screen. And right now, that's a struggle for them.
This one is from Andy. How much does the departure of DJ Reed affect this defense, you think?
I mean, DJ is a very, very, very good player. But I really think their issues are not at outside corner that much to me. When I watch this team, I'm not like I told Chris this before we was about to record. I was like, you know whose problem seems to be outside corners is the Ravens. The Ravens let Tua barbecue them today. I know they got Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, but still, they got destroyed defensively through the air.
Well, the funny thing is, Mike, you know it's coming, and they still beat you deep.
Yeah, it was getting cooked. It was getting barbecued. That's a team that means like, maybe our cornerback situation needs to be addressed somehow. Change the scheme, something, change the personnel, something there. But Seattle, who's throwing it? Where have you seen these guys getting worked? Nah, man. So I think they'll be fine there. They'll be fine. I think losing Jamal stinks though, but I think they can handle that.
This one is from Aaron Cruz. If you own the team, you keeping John and or Pete next year?
Oh, it's too early to answer that one, Aaron. I'm sorry, it's just too early. It depends on how the season goes. What if they win 10 games? Yeah, I keep everybody. What if they lose 10? Well, maybe then I start firing everybody. It just depends. It really depends on how they look, how Geno looks. For better or worse, front offices, they're basically hitching themselves to a quarterback. You usually get fired if you choose a quarterback and that does not work. Like the Niners, if that Trey Lance thing didn't work, John Lynch probably out of there, Kyle Shanahan probably out of there. Now they don't have to worry about that because Jimmy G's in. But like the Jets, for example, I think Saleh and his staff inherited Zach Wilson, right? Robert Saleh didn't draft Zach Wilson, right? It was wasn't the guy before him? I want to say it was like
yes, it was.
Yeah, so that was somebody else. So
Case, wasn't it Adam Case?
Oh no. I think they did take Zach Wilson. I think they did. So I probably need to use somebody else's example. Kind of like the Bears had coaching staff. So the Bears those guys came in there and it's like, oh, Justin Fields is already here. So if Justin Fields stinks, it's not like whatever the dude's name is, Matt Eber, whatever. Like, all right, he gets to pick another quarterback. And if that flops, then it's like, okay, we got to get you out of here. So basically, if you choose a quarterback and that flops, you're out of there. So these guys chose Geno, or they chose Geno and Drew, however you want to look at it. If that flops, you guys got to go. So
this last one is from the homie Paul Martin at P Martin, Katy, Texas. Biggest disappointing player so far. Who are they? Mine is Darrell Taylor right now.
That's what Paul's saying, and that's who you.
That's what Paul's saying.
Paul picked Darrell. Yeah, I mean, I have to watch. That would probably be up there for me. I think, at least from production side. I think, to be fair to Darrell, they've talked about this. Seahawks have that they really wanted to make Russell Wilson scramble if he was going to scramble to his left. So that means the guy rushing from Russ's right kind of can't really get his pass rush on because he's essentially containing. So it's a little tricky. But still to that point, I'm not sure. Darrell hasn't had the impact I thought he would have through 2 games. So I think that's a fair one. I really would like to watch a little bit more what's going on with Noah Fant in the passing game.
He's supposed to be number 3 for sure.
Yeah, let me see how many. What's Noah's stats look like through?
He ain't got. I'd be stunned if he has over 50 yards, man.
Let's see. He has. Oh yeah. Oh, that's yucky. 5 catches for 27 yards. That's not. That's. He hasn't run a lot of routes. He's only run 33 routes, so that's 6 targets on 33 routes, which is not like terrible, I guess. But I would want more of that out of that position. There's just so many guys there's guys that I think were going to be impact dudes and have just not been. They just not been.
I'm curious. You know what? I want to look up Gerald Everett's stats from his first 2 games with the Seahawks last season to see where he compares. Because that is fascinating that he has 5 catches for 27 yards. What? How is that even? I don't even understand how that's possible. Like, that's someone who you traded for. You got rid of Russ, brought him in to get receptions. Well, I guess to be fair, he wasn't that impressive either. He had 3 catches for 23 yards. So you know what? It's fitting.
Yeah, still though, I think. Yeah, that's tough. I mean, honestly, the real answer is DK. You know, like 71 yards in 2 games. Lamar Jackson ran for 70 on 1 play today. You know, like that's just not. You know,
Not gonna get it done.
Rashad Bateman have a 75-yard catch today. That
78
that
or
Ravens
something like that.
offense
Yeah.
had there's too many high-paid corners in that game for them to be barbecued. But Marcus Peters, Marlon Humphrey, Xavier Howard, and the other dude that the Dolphins pay. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. That's tough. Yeah, they've got some guys who I thought were going to be impact dudes that have just not so far. They've got a lot of issues, man. I think the offense though, it really comes back to that for me, because if they're not going to be a team that dominates in the run game, they're screwed.
And that could be a lot. A lot of teams are going to know what the Seahawks want to do, and that's why I brought up using the Vikings as an example. Then use your receivers. Use the guys that you know are top 10 in the league at their position and can make plays. Give them the rock. And if the Seahawks aren't willing to do that, then you will see more games, as you saw Sunday against the Niners, where they go up against an okay, pretty good defense, but the offense can't get anything rolling. Because how many points offensively did they give up? What is it, 20 points today offensively they gave up? If the Seahawks can do just, I don't know, give a field goal here, a touchdown there, maybe it's a competitive game. But to not do it.
And how many points they gave up? 27.
Well, yes. So 20 offensively though, right? From the Niners, if I'm not mistaken, or was it all? I'm trying to think.
No, they didn't score on D.
That's right. So never mind.
Yeah, it was.
I guess you could eliminate the fourth quarter one, but
that was a 7-minute drive, man.
That's when I said they were just beating them down. You need your offense to do something, but this could be a recipe for how the season kind of goes.
Yeah, and obviously it won't be this bad. They're gonna score
against Atlanta.
They're gonna score points against every other team. I don't
know about the Bucks, bro.
Nah, they're gonna score. You don't think they'll score? They're gonna score. Let's see. We'll see
how good the Bucks are.
The Seahawks are 29th in points per game at 12 points, and damn, that's pretty bad. At 12 points a game.
Not scoring on Sunday against the Niners doesn't help you, Mike.
No,
to be fair, all they had to do was score an offensive touchdown.
Yeah, no, it does. It does not. Oh, damn, and that actually includes the Michael Jackson joint. That includes that. Otherwise, they'd be dead last because they have.
Oh, because they gave them points for the special teams.
Yeah. Otherwise, they would just have 17 points in 2 games, which is only 8.5 points a game.
Oh, that is sick.
Yeah, so they would actually be dead last. Although I don't know if the teams they're ahead of are New England, Dallas, and Indianapolis. I don't know if those teams have a defensive touchdown on their thing as well. I'm looking actually now. The Patriots have not scored on defense or special teams. The Cowboys have a bad offense. Oh, Dak's hurt. That's why.
Yeah.
The Cowboys, they have not scored on defense or special teams, so their points are all just offense. The Colts have not scored on defense or a special teams thing to my knowledge. So, yeah, the Seahawks basically have the worst offense in the league.
Well, we kind of saw that.
But that's why I brought that up. I said that to say that they will eventually score. Last year, let's put it this way. Last year's worst scoring offense in the league was the Jaguars at 14.8. So if the Seahawks are going to score at least a couple touchdowns a game for the most. Damn, 14 is really low, though. Jesus Christ. Damn, the Jags are bad. Oh, my God. 14 points a night is disgustingly bad, bro. That's bad. I don't think it'll get that bad, but yeah, man.
Yeah, I'll say this: if there's a team that can hold them out, that can hold them without scoring, it would be the Buccaneers on the schedule. If I just went and said, which team could really give these guys an egg, I would put money on the Bucs doing that.
Not the Rams.
No, the Rams gave up 27 points to the Falcons today on Sunday.
The Falcons aren't that bad on offense, man.
Well, then that's scary, Mike, because guess who the Seahawks play next Sunday?
You know what? I'm gonna look into this tomorrow, or maybe some point when I watch film this week. The reason I bring up to some of these DK matchups, and I'm glad somebody asked that in our Twitter questions. Falcons have AJ Terrell. Like he is real. I don't know
really good.
I don't know what he did today. I didn't get to see it, but I know he's pretty good. Like I know he had some trouble with Michael Thomas in that week 1, but no, AJ is real. So if these guys aren't willing to just say fuck it, man, throw it up to DK on some of these plays, that's tough. They did it against Denver. There was some throws. There was like 2 throws to DK, maybe like 3 against Patrick Surtain that Gino probably shouldn't even have thrown. But he did.
Yeah, the one was a comeback with a linebacker under, or the safety dropped down a cover cloud, and Surtain was dropping back deep, and he just rifled it in there. DK made a diving catch, and I was like, okay, I ain't mad at it. You force feeding, as you put it, Mike.
Yeah, and then the 15-yarder that he had on 3rd down against Surtain as well, where he catches it over his head.
Yeah, strength in the hands, baby.
Throw more of those, and if you're not gonna throw those because of who's on him, you're gonna have a long day. So yeah, we'll get to the Falcons still. We'll turn the page a little later, but yeah, that's a lot for today, man. It was pretty bad, man. Second time I've got on a plane and watch these guys score 0 points on offense, man. They got to score. That's just unacceptable, and they know it is too. That's why I feel no problem piling it on. You just can't. You can't practice all week, watch all that film, pay all these dudes all this bread, and all these coaches, these players, and score nothing.
Man, the Colts and the Seahawks got shut out. Who would have thought?
I could have told you the Colts, man. Them boys is frauds.
Well, they got Jonathan Taylor.
Frauds.
Hell, didn't you take him number 1?
I'm a bad fantasy player. I'm losing in every league I'm in. And I'm in like 4. I'm pretty bad. The Colts are frauds. I could have told you they.
Okay, you win. My bad. I won't bring up the Colts no more. Colts are frauds. Seahawks got smoked 27-7. They'll look to rebound against the Atlanta Falcons next Sunday. It's gonna be a long week for them boys, especially on that offense.
Offense. Tell the truth, Monday is gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad. Like it's as it should be when you don't score. So that is what it is. We appreciate you guys listening to the Seahawks Man to Man podcast, again powered by The Athletic. Shout out to the company. Again, I'm Mike Dugard. That is Pittsburgh Kid. We are your hosts. We appreciate y'all. Continue to subscribe on YouTube. Seahawks Man to Man on YouTube. Also, shout out to all of our Spotify, Apple, wherever you get podcasts, man. We appreciate you guys tapping in. We'll be back with a midweek episode as usual. We're going to bring that goods to you. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, we are out.